Come on, leave the saving the world to the men? I don't think so. I don't think so.
Hey, Cara.
Hello.
Well, it is just the two of us because two of our counterparts are meeting up in Disney with our other
Without us.
right, without us. We are having major FOMO right now. So this is the time of conversation so we can chat and just act like, we're in our own world.
But we chose this life.
Right. So awesome. So this episode is going to be very special. It's one of a series we plan on doing in the future, like girl on girl chats, where just either two of us as hosts, maybe bring in a guest person. We'll just ask each other questions and around an array of topics. It could be anything. So we're excited to kick off the first episode. And before we get started, we do have...
May I have your attention, please? May I have your attention, please?
some attention moments. So, Cara, I know you're very excited to talk about yours, so go ahead.
Okay, so I just spent the last hour watching the newest episode of The Kardashians, which just came out today, and I am emotional. Like, if no spoilers, but if you go watch this episode because it has me in all kinds of feels. I've been crying for the last hour. Tried to put some concealer back up there to make it look like I'm back to normal. But yeah, it is emotional. And shout out to Disney for taking the Kardashians and turning it into a show that is about women empowerment and like positive emotions as opposed to just pitting women against each other for entertainment, as was before. But yeah, if you haven't watched it, check it out. It is emotional. It is entertaining, I guess. And man, hi Sarah.
Hey Sarah, I see her comment.
We came here for girl on girl stuff. We know, Sarah.
Can't be in the name, so thanks, Sarah. But that's great. I gotta check it out because I feel like I've never watched the Kardashians. Hey Sam. But you've been saying a lot of good things about this newest installment.
Because here's the thing. It's like what they were on previously made it like drama. So sister against sister, girl against girl, like let's blow up the drama to get the views. Disney so far has made it a family show. Like in terms of like, we are a family, we stick together, girls empower girls. They still like, it's the Kardashians, they're rich, they're beautiful, they have drama. But like the stuff that they're dealing with and how they deal with it is super relatable. Even though they're rich and they have things that we don't have, they still like as a family operate similar to how my family operates, as though we do it as a team. And I love that.
That's great because I feel like anytime you get to like humanize celebrities and like have that more intimate view, that's really good.
I mean, we all saw Kendall trying to cut the cucumber. Like in this episode, like Chris has like a fridge filled with champagne. Like none of that is relatable, but just like the fact that they still deal with like shit relationships, like feeling insecure, all of these things, and then they kind of use each other to get through it and get through it in different ways. That's relatable. So I like it. Sam says the cucumbers.
Oh my gosh. That is insane.
Hey, Micah.
Hey, Micah. So my attention moment is this lovely movie I saw on Saturday called The Woman King. It was amazing. I know I actually did a deep dive conversation about it with Rob and Alex on Comics and Cinema, friend of the podcast, also on the Nerd Life Network, where we talked about kind of like some of the criticisms, but also the things we loved about the film. It's a really great story. If you just look at it as the story, there is some historical context around the film that is kind of reason why a lot of people there's it. I guess it's not as celebrated in certain areas because of the historical inaccuracies or information that got let out. But I still think it's a very empowering, a very amazing movie. And I got chills. I cried multiple times, and I highly, highly, highly recommend it. So
Would you recommend? Because I definitely want to see this movie. My fiance and I have been talking about going either this weekend or next weekend. Is it one of those that you should definitely see in the theater, or it's okay to watch on at home?
I think you should definitely watch it in the theater because one, there's been a lot of talk about like seeing the success at the box office, so these types of stories can um,
True, true.
get a platform. So
Mhm.
that would be my reason. But it's also it's like a gladiator-esque type movie. So I feel like I'm happy I saw it in theaters rather than just streaming.
Okay, good
So
to
it's
know.
very action-packed, big screen. It's great.
Yeah, it looks phenomenal.
You will love it. It's very good. So how this is gonna work is me and Kira both prepared our own sets of questions to ask each other. I have no idea what she's gonna ask me. She has no idea what I'm gonna ask her. So we're gonna just kind of jump into it on our first girl on girl chat. So
Okay.
Kira, my first question, kind of deep.
Okay.
What about the future excites you? And what about the future scares you?
Okay. Okay. Good. This is kind of similar to my first question for you. Okay. So,
Okay.
what about the future excites me? So, my immediate future, as you guys may or may not know, I'm getting married in 2 months. So, that excites me. Being able to, my partner and I are mostly long distance. So, being able to get married and live together is the most exciting thing I can think of at this time.
Mhm.
Also being done. Oh, thank you. Being done my degree, I have probably a year left, or just under a year left in my master's degree. Getting done that and being able to move forward in my career and what I want to do, that's exciting. I have loads of anxiety, so I am mostly afraid of everything in the future. Thank you, Micah. I
Yeah.
am, for the most part, afraid of everything. Um, Having kids, like we're at that stage now where we're talking about having kids and all of that process. That's very scary to me. Obviously, it's something that I probably like to do, but it's very scary, very intimidating. Kind of branching out, like what happens if that doesn't look the way that I want it to, in terms of my career, in terms of my life and direction and all that kind of stuff. If it doesn't go the way that I want, that's also very scary.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's lots to look forward to and lots to be scared of, I would say. Not knowing like where we want to settle down, like what kind of, like I don't know. There's lots going on.
Mhm. Well, the thing about life is you can make plans, but plans always change. So, kind of just going with the flow, letting life happen, and just taking it day by day. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
feel like I could probably talk about that for 6 hours, but we only have a specific amount of time. So,
Gotcha.
so my first question for you is, what does success look like for you?
Hmm. And I feel like success, I always root it in purpose. Like feeling that you have like this larger calling on what you want to do to help the world, but it's also balanced with your own happiness and fulfillment with life. So I never try to think of success as getting a level at a job or having so much money. It's more so about feeling like you're on a path of purposeful things, like being able to solve cool problems, working on the things that you're passionate about, but then also having fun and enjoying life while you do it. So
Mhm.
family, interactions with my friends, traveling, just finding enjoyment in life and feeling like I have like agency over my own happiness. Like I'm not going to let life just run me over and react to everything, but I'm actively making plans to find life and or like happiness around me. So that's how I would say I view success.
Mhm. I feel like we are like in my generation and your generation, because I think we're in different generations.
I'm a
We're like,
teenager, I'm still millennial, but I'm like
really?
1 year away. Yeah. I'm
Okay,
actually a few days away from being
a
a
few
Gen.
days.
Yeah, 'cause I'm December 28th. So yeah.
Yeah, so I feel like the generation before us, like our parents' generation and before them, like they all define success as like having money, having a good job, having a family with children and all that kind of stuff. And I think starting in the millennial generation and then definitely going down into the more recent generations, everybody's starting to have a different conversation about what success looks like and understanding that success looks differently for different people. So for
Mhm.
one person, it may be, you know, having a husband or a wife and a family where you don't have to work. You can be a stay-at-home parent. You can, you know, take care of the house, and that's what success looks like. For somebody else, it may be success in a career, having money. For somebody else, it may be, like you said, and that's kind of more along the lines of what I'm thinking, happiness and like finding enjoyment and purpose in everyday life outside of just money and
Mhm.
things. So that's, yeah, that's interesting and it's cool to see. Like I think I would like to hear too from like different women, especially because I feel like a lot of narrative in the past has been put on our worth in terms of childbearing, which we've talked about on the show before. Uh,
Mhm.
and having worth even if you don't want kids or you don't want to have that going on in your life, worth in moving forward in your career and choosing career above specific things and all that kind of stuff. So it's cool to hear other people talk about things that
For
are different.
sure. That's a good point too, because I feel like as women, we're kind of told what success is supposed to look like, and for
Yeah,
guys, it's like, oh, the world is your oyster. Like whatever
right.
career. I mean, I guess there's more pressure on like career and money. I don't know, but I totally understand what you like said. Like success looks different for any woman.
Right. Yeah, so I work with students. And so at this time of year, the beginning of September, I work with a lot of like 18-year-olds who are just coming into university for the first time. And they feel like they have to know their whole life plan. Like they feel so much pressure over getting good grades and knowing what they're doing and figuring things out and knowing exactly what career they want so that they can like tailor their classes to this. And it's tough. Like I feel like women, especially based on my experience, feel more pressure, like you said, to have all of that figured out, to move forward and to know all these things. And it's a balance. Like I don't know. Like maybe what would your advice be for like a female in like the 18 to 22 range or younger or even older that's trying to figure out what success looks like to them?
Hmm. I would say like take a look at the most important things. Like I would say like strip yourself of your associations, your material things, and like really think about like, okay, if I didn't have all these things, will I be happy? And
Mm,
also like and understand like, okay, if you didn't have these things, how will I find fulfillment in life? And I think that's when you get the root of, okay, like, this is what I really enjoy in my free time when no one's around, because your major in school or your career path may be mainly rooted in money rather than personal passions and things like that. So I just feel like it's really good to conceptualize your life without the things around you. It's kind of hard to do. So I think that would be my advice. But then also just like we don't pay enough attention on like what really like sparks our fire, lights our fire. We're always so caught up on what we think we have to do versus what we actually like. I've talked to so many women, like I have mentees where it's like they can't even communicate what they like to do. So I think, and especially in a culture where everything is so trend based, oh, I like this. I'm told what I'm supposed to like to do. So like, having like able to have that personal answer, I think is like my best advice. What about you?
Yeah. Taking time to think about what makes you happy. And if you don't know, like try and pay attention to when you're having conversations during the day or when you encounter different things, what gets you going? Because there's going to be something that lights that fire. And if it's something that like gets you going, even if it's just like in an anger, like I hate this or whatever, find that passion. What about that makes you angry? And what about that like sparks your passion? Also, Micah mentioned in the comments about helping each other. Like, how do I help each other? And it's something that Sam and I know have talked a lot about is like finding purpose and also helping other people and how that brings joy and that brings kind of like a different peace and atmosphere to your own life, and definitely making things about remembering that there's other people and helping each other is huge.
Right.
The whole aspect of community.
I really like this, Mike. Is like it's so true. That's why the most healing exercise is falling back into the things we loved as children, where we didn't have that agenda. We didn't have, oh, you're supposed to do this. You really just did what you wanted to do. So that is such an amazing thing to think about, like what you liked as a kid.
I like that. I have to say I haven't spent a lot of time thinking about activities that I loved as a kid. I'm going to. Thanks, Micah.
That's a whole other podcast episode potentially.
Micah will talk to you about next time.
Okay, so my next question for you is, what do people get wrong about you? Like area you feel like the most misunderstood?
Ooh. That's a good question. I think one of the things that people who are not super close to me don't get is the amount of anxiety that I deal with. So I come across as a very like social, outgoing, like go-getter kind of person, traveled the world and lived abroad and all these kinds of things. And so it seems like I have like a lot of confidence. I have a tremendous amount of anxiety to the point where like it's difficult for me to do normal things that people do. So I'm constantly like bailing on people or not like promoting like not promoting but like attacking friendships in the way that I would like to. Like I would like to be going out with friends and be doing normal things and kind of operating as a quote unquote normal human being, but like my anxiety prevents me from doing a lot of normal things, even just like talking to somebody or like texting somebody to be like, hey, how's it going, what's going on, because a lot of times I'm very just dealing with my own crap. So I think a lot of people think either that I have it all together or that I don't care about them, like depending on what side of the spectrum they are. And truthfully, I'm at the middle, where I have some of it together, and I care a lot about people. I just can't because of all of the things that I'm dealing with. I think that would probably be the thing that people would get wrong about me.
I definitely felt like that was something I got wrong about you because you always so bubbly, so energetic, social. And I remember when you were about to get your vaccine, I'm like, oh my gosh, Kara is really struggling. And like, I mean, I think like a great thing that you mentioned that because a lot of those battles are like personal and silent. No one ever sees it. So
Mm-hmm.
like, and no one will know, you know? So I think that's a really good call out that like people, things that you, just because you don't see it doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And going back to that vaccine thing, like if you guys obviously don't know, but I have tremendous needle phobia, like a substantial amount of needle phobia. COVID's been a real trip for me. Like this has been a real time. Uh, like my anxiety was so bad that these people, Maya, Jalen, Sarah, the rest of the Nerd Life Network group, they made me a video. And I kid you not, I sat in the vaccine clinic with this video. My mom was there. We were all watching it. People around me, they were all watching this video that my friends made for me to help me get through that moment. So, yes, definitely was a vulnerable moment for me to let you guys know how bad my anxiety was. Because, yeah, like typically people don't know that, but definitely a precious moment because you guys came through.
That's what friendship's about.
Yeah. Okay. This is a two-parter because your first question was a two-parter. The best and the worst date you've ever been on. Yeah, I feel like I probably should have given you this one in advance.
I definitely know the best date. Can never say that. So at the time I was just beginning to date somebody and I was in New York for an internship and the person was their first time flying. Like, so flew to New York. We did like biking around the city and like he found this restaurant that had like an Italian restaurant where you can rent a picnic basket. And so they
Cool.
prepare all the food, put the fancy basket, the blanket, and everything. So we were on the bike, grabbed the basket, and was very scenic part of like the Brooklyn Bridge Park. And they have like this really cute like carousel. So it was like we're eating at this fancy place, they were riding the carousel. I literally felt like I was in a movie. And it was just like I felt like I was in a fairy tale. And it was just great because you have the activity, it's like being able to explore together. That was just a thrill. And then like having like a beautiful background of like the date. I really like that.
Nice.
The worst date, because I'm thinking something it's like worse because of the person rather than the circumstance, you know? Um,
Could be either. Could just be like a bad circumstance.
yeah, okay. Um, Gosh. It's I do so much vetting before I go on dates. It's like for me to go on a date is like it's not
Yeah.
willy nilly. Like it's
Same.
okay. We've been talking for a
Same.
while, but I guess what I can think of is okay. This is gonna sound so petty because I was young, but wait,
You
I don't
know
even.
it's gonna be good when it starts with this.
Well, Mike already could have put this. I was literally, this is like probably one of my first dates ever. Oh no, you know what? I have one. Sorry, I'm not going to use that one, Micah.
Oh, I was gonna say she called it.
Okay, I'll give quickly two. One of them, I was literally like in the 7th or 8th grade. It's my first boyfriend, and we went to go see a movie together. And he literally packs like a brisk iced tea, Doritos, and like, who goes on a date eating nacho cheese Doritos? So he's chomping on these Doritos the whole time. I'm like, gosh, I'm not about to kiss you when you have like Dorito breath all on your fingers or anything. So that was like very first cringe first date, but one I had that still just like haunts my memory is I was going to a homecoming. This is my first like big dance or whatever, and it was from another school. This guy who was older than me, who's so cute. He's the quarterback football team. Why did my brother drive all the way from school? And it was like in northern Ohio. Got there moments before my date pulled up and just completely humiliated. Why are you? What are your intentions with my sister? But he went over the top with it, like because I had it perfect. My dad was at work; he's a firefighter, so he was literally gone all day. And then it was just my mom, my dad, my brother pulled up and ruined it, ruined the vibe. He tried to intimidate him. He was being so mean to my date. So those two are like horrible.
Oh, man. Can't say that I relate. I have no brothers, just brothers-in-law. So, man. And I'm the oldest too. So, like, I didn't have to deal with any of that.
Nice. Be happy because, like, oh gosh, he was just doing way too much. But the actual homecoming itself was a lot of fun. It was just getting there was tough.
Okay.
Man, well, that's a good question. Okay. So this is kind of like on the same vein.
Okay.
What does a perfect day look like for you? I feel like this is a miscongeniality question.
A perfect day or a perfect date?
Day. So like if you get to choose the perfect agenda, money's not an option, weather's not like everything will be perfect. Like what would you choose to do?
The perfect day in my mind, I think would be my whole family would be involved, first of all. So my mom, my sister, my brother-in-law, my niece and nephew, and obviously my fiance. We would all be somewhere else, like somewhere on the beach somewhere.
All you need is a light jacket.
Not too hot, not too cold. Somewhere on the beach in like Italy or Greece or something like that, where everybody gets along, everybody's happy. We have like a great coffee and pastry to start. We have a Sam can come too, and whoever else wants to be there is fantastic. We have fresh pasta and wine for dinner. Just great views. That is like my ideal day. It's like family there, Italy's involved, fresh pasta, wine. If we're talking about like just like a regular everyday kind of deal, like you're in your house, like you've got a fire going, the snow is falling, you got a Christmas tree on, a Christmas movie, like your favorite Christmas movie, some like treats, like Christmas treats, like no work, no school, nothing like that. You're in your PJs, you don't have to see or talk to anybody. That's kind of my my at-home perfect day. I know Sam's feeling me on that one.
I feel you too. I got goosebumps thinking like, nothing like a great holiday vibe.
Right? What are you gonna do this year? Portland's not gonna get any snow.
Oh, I'll be back with my family in Ohio. I will not be here. Midwest holidays only.
Yeah, man. Once you have that white Christmas, it's hard to not have a white Christmas.
Right. We haven't had a white Christmas in Columbus it's always on or off, but it's always very, very cold.
Yeah.
So, I can't wait for a holiday episode because we have lots of great traditions. I feel like you are the holiday connoisseur, and
love it.
It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, Jalen's our resident Halloween person. So she'll have something to say for Halloween.
Right.
All right. Do you have any major regrets in life?
They say like, every mistake is a lesson, whatever. But if we take that away, things that I did in my past that keep me up at night, Yes, I do. And I think it was like my first serious relationship. I realized I was, I don't know if that's my biggest regret because I feel like everyone needed that first relationship to understand like how you want to operate. I accept the fact that I was a little toxic, my communication style. Um, but generally, I think my biggest regret was not like going through life early on with like an empowered mindset. Like when I was growing up, um, I came from like a French immersion school, so my English was bad because I went to literally a French school. We learned French.
You did?
Yes.
I didn't
So,
know that.
and I literally, like, I was there from kindergarten to fourth or third grade. We moved to the suburbs when I was in the fourth grade. I remember my sister and I, not only were like the only Black girls, like reading out loud in class, and it was just like, horrible, like the bullying and everything like that. So basically, I committed myself for the up until high school, like I'm going to show people that I'm capable, I'm worthy, I'm smart. So a lot of my like life growing up was trying to so centered on other people, like um Kara to briefly step away, but I'm sure she could still hear me. Um, so I had to basically like focus on like I focused on trying to be better and like center a lot of my personality on other people rather than going after what I really wanted to do. So thankfully I was blessed with a twin sister. So I always like we would always do the stuff that we really wanted to do. But to the rest of the world, I'm like, oh Maya, she's always on her shit. She always does this. She always does this. And it was very performative. I wasn't being my true authentic self. So um I that's how I guess I would say like that's my biggest regret is not like feeling empowered to be myself early on. But while we wait on Kara, oh, you're back.
I'm sorry, I'm back. Sorry.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I did
You heard-
not know any of that.
Yeah, so
Wow.
I know Mike is still in the comments, but it was rough growing up, and I think I downplay a lot of it. But now, like as a young adult, it's like some of that trauma always like comes up. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
like imposter syndrome and things like that. So I just wish I was in a place I feel like I'd enjoyed life more if I had more of an empowered mindset younger.
So if you could like give advice or like if you were talking to like 9-year-old, 10-year-old Maya, is there something that you would say or that you would have done differently?
Um yeah, like I would honestly have encouraged myself to like find like convince myself that it's larger than my school. Like that was my big thing. My whole mindset was just on my school and the people around me. But
Mm-hmm.
meanwhile, there's girls like me, like in different, different schools, different settings. So I probably my advice would have been to like think outside my school, think outside of just my local community, because it was very toxic. Like the where I grew up on the news multiple times for a lot of hate crimes, a lot of cringe things happening between teachers, students, social media. It's ridiculous. So I would say like finding community outside of, I mean, it's tough when you're young, but just even knowing that it exists, I think would have been my advice.
Mm-hmm. Also, if you were listening or watching to this episode and you have like anxiety or childhood trauma surrounding like racism or feeling othered or just not knowing what to do, like please reach out to us. We have no answers, but we have friendly smiles and we would love to chat with you and make you feel like you're not alone.
Right.
I think,
Listening ears, everything.
yeah, I think sometimes that's all you need is just somebody to chat with.
Mm-hmm.
Man, this is a vulnerable chat, man. Like this is going on the internet forever.
Right. Very, very vulnerable. Whew. Okay.
But it's good because I feel like a lot of the time we do not talk about our things, especially as women, because we have tried so hard over the last 100 years to appear strong and to appear fierce and like we can handle everything. And so to be at a point in life where we can say, yeah, I'm a badass bitch. And also, I have major anxiety. I have childhood trauma. I have insecurities and all these kinds of things is actually a power move.
Mm-hmm.
So we will claim that as power.
For sure. For sure. So I will lighten the mood a little bit. Um, what what has been what is the best compliment you have ever received and why?
Mm. Hmm. I am sure that there is a specific compliment. Like uh, any compliment that my sister gives me is amazing because she is not the kind of person that will just give people compliments. She's not
Mm-hmm.
like she doesn't just speak out of her ass. Like if she's giving you a compliment, like she genuinely means it from the bottom of her heart. Like nothing can take that away. Um, but I'm sure there's like a specific compliment that has completely rocked my world that I don't recall at the top of my head that I'll think about as I'm going to sleep later. But usually the my favorite compliment is that I make people feel safe or heard, or that yeah, I think like if somebody tells me that they make me that I made them feel safe or that I like made them feel heard, that is my favorite compliment.
That's great. And that's why you were voted Discord therapist in our superlatives for our friend group. um, and this is interesting. Something Sam said. She's like something my husband said after me putting myself down about my weight. That is true. Like nothing like getting that the reassurance, positive voice after a lot of like negative self-talk and negative feelings. Those are also really great compliments.
Okay, Sarah, it's pasta. I don't know what you're talking about. Did I say pasta? Like, have we talked about pasta on this episode?
Madam, well, yeah, when you talked about going to Greece, eating like your perfect day, and I did. I'm like, wow, why is she
Oh,
saying it like that? But you said it like this all the time.
the pasta. Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah,
noticed you
pasta.
say it like someone from Minnesota.
Yeah, yeah, because the thing is, like, I lived in Italy, and nobody says pasta in Italy, so.
It's funny. Sam
Okay,
said
so
nice things.
Sam says nice things, Chris says, which is her husband. I think you're more attractive now. Okay, so this is part 2. After putting herself down about her weight, he says, I think you're more attractive now with your weight because you're mentally healthy. Yes! That's
Wow. And if
beautiful.
your love
Yes.
language is words of affirmation, oh my
Oh,
gosh, I'd just be eating that
man.
up. That is so
Yes.
kind.
Yes, and you know that we love some words of affirmation,
Yes.
mental health, and being like confident, feeling good in your skin is everything, much more than physical weight or appearance is ever going to do for you.
Right.
Absolutely. Okay. Keeping on the light side, what's your top 3 bevies? Like we know that we love beverages on this podcast. We built it around having a glass of wine with your friends and shooting the shit, having some girl chat. If you could only have 3 liquids for the rest of your life, what would they be?
Can we not include water in this?
Okay.
We'll take water out. We'll take
Actually,
water.
water would be one of my top 3, but yes, you're allowed to
I
take it
mean,
out.
yeah, it would be my top one too. But my number one would be some jasmine green tea. That's why I'm always
Okay.
running to the bathroom. Green tea moves through you like a racehorse. Like it was, I love it. Like I don't know what it is. I don't like coffee, but I just love green tea, specifically jasmine tea. My second one Probably be like Sauvignon Blanc, favorite wine. I love me some a dry white, but Sauvignon Blanc's my favorite. And then lastly, this is tough. Um, I would say, ooh, kombucha. I'm good. I don't have to say the specific type, but I love kombucha.
You like kombucha. You talk about it a lot.
Love kombucha. It's so good. I love it because it's like, especially if I'm trying to like take wine breaks, it kind of has like that little like carbonation. So maybe it's like I'm drinking a White Claw or something. Um, and I just like the taste. So I would say those are my three.
Sarah's very attracted to you right now. For some reason. Those are, yeah, okay. I mean, none of those would be on my list.
I'm like a big tea person, and I know a lot of people aren't. So shout out to the tea group.
I will enjoy a good herbal tea in the winter. Like some chamomile, some apple cinnamon, like some kind of like, I don't know. I drink a lot of that Tetley tea that's like immune boosting.
Oh, okay.
I like that. But I am like a through and through, like water, black coffee, red wine. Like those are my three drinks. If it's not water, it's like sparkling water. So I drink a lot of like La Croix and bubbly. And then black coffee and red wine. And occasionally white wine.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm a very like, yeah. Oh no, it's your turn. It's your turn. Sorry.
Okay. So okay, this is kind of like on same kind of vein. What is your favorite brand and why? So
My favorite brand?
any like brand, like could be clothing, it could be anything that you have a very strong connection with. Like okay, I will always purchase from here.
My basic bare necessities of white womanness. I love Starbucks. And not for the reasons you think, because I legitimately just order black coffee at Starbucks. It's not like I go in there for my pumpkin spice latte or all those basic bitch things that people think. I love the branding of Starbucks. So even though I'm just holding a black coffee, the whole concept of holding the Starbucks black coffee is everything. I love that. Is Marvel a brand? I guess Marvel. I love the Marvel brand.
We can take it out. We like physical products, physical goods. Let's say that. And I know DVDs are
No disrespect to the pumpkin spice latte or all of the people that make me wait 45 minutes in line to get a black drip coffee that takes 4 seconds to pour. But brands. Oh man. And the funny thing about this is that I remember thinking the other day, man, if anybody ever asked me like my favorite brand of something, it would be this. And now I remember what it is. I do like Nike. I do have a lot of Nike things. Like my runners are exclusively Nike. Bath and Body Works. I love their candles, their hand soaps, like exclusive in my house, soap and candles. Be the White Barn or whatever. Oh, this is going to bother me because I'm going to remember after this what is that one thing that I was thinking about. Okay, so this includes like food, beverage. Okay, bubbly. I love bubbly, like sparkling water. Very, very addicted to that. If I remember what it is in this podcast, I'll say it.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Body Works, yes, Sam.
Bath and Body Works. I love Bath and Body Works.
So good. Great candles, great fragrance. Yes.
Smells, the fall smells specifically,
Yes.
and we are in fall season.
Yes.
If I remember next week, even I'll say it next week. Okay.
Gotcha.
What is something that you have quit in the last year? And as a follow-up, something that you've started in the last year. This is inspired, by the way, by the Quitters podcast, which is an excellent podcast that I would recommend, with Julie Bowen from Modern Family and Chad Sanders. And they talk about things that people quit, and it is very fascinating.
Gosh, this is tough.
It could be anything. It could be people, it could be food, it could be lifestyle. It doesn't have to be like something necessarily negative that you quit, like quitting smoking or something like that, but could be just something that, like, you quit the Midwest.
Yeah, I did. Well, I wouldn't say quit. I just carry the Midwest with me, you know?
Okay.
Well, yeah, actually, I quit a job. That was a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
My previous job, I was definitely felt very pigeonholed and undervalued.
Mm-hmm.
So it was very liberating thing to quit and leave and find a better job that I just felt like was better for me in so many different ways. Also quit inherently work from home too because my job was work from home. So that was like a tough transition. But ultimately, I'm happy to be around people every day. And I'm constantly meeting new people at my new job. So I like that a lot. But that's probably the most significant thing that I've started doing within the last year. I've always read stories since I was like in junior high, but this past year, I would say I've been reading more than I've been watching. And that's insane because I would watch a crap ton of TV series, movies. Like I still watch a lot, but I've been reading a lot. And I'm not saying intellectually non-fictional stuff, like fictional stories that I'm finding more engaging than actual things on like a series or something. So
All right.
I think I've been really liking it. And yeah, that's the only thing I can think of right now.
All right.
I don't
Sam
know
said,
what Sam said her
yeah,
family quitting
yeah.
or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
quitting family and toxic relationships. Anybody who's quit a
Mhm.
toxic relationship, good job. That's
Right.
tough. Quitting, yeah. Yeah, you have had a lot of firsts and a lot of, I wouldn't say lasts, but like a lot of endings and beginnings this year.
Mhm.
Which is, yeah, it's like a lot to deal with. It's exciting, but it's scary. Like going back to your question to me at the very beginning of like, what are you like excited for and what are you afraid of the future?
Mhm.
I think you would probably have a lot of the same in both sides of the list as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Man. Whew. Okie doke. I think you would like this one.
Okay.
And I don't know if I actually know this one, so we'll see.
Mm.
If you could live in a fictional world from a TV or film, what would it be?
Mm.
You're absorbed in the cast of whatever, and like you have to live in that setting for the rest of your life.
Okay,
Can be
so
animated.
obviously my first choice would be Parks and Recreation in Pawnee, Indiana.
Gotcha.
Because I know them so well.
So you would even live in the state of Indiana.
Well, it's funny because I did live in the state of Indiana for a couple of
Oh, yeah,
years.
that's right. You were talking.
Yeah, yeah. And I think like what I didn't like about it is the same thing that I probably wouldn't like about Pawnee and the lack of diversity.
Yeah.
in the area. So, like, would I stay there forever? Probably not. But would I like to live there for a couple of years? Absolutely.
Gotcha.
I don't know that I would like to live in the MCU because there's too much nonsense. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need to have aliens coming in, attacking my house, and the holes ripping through the universe
Right.
for that. So, hmm. I would probably have a really great answer for this if I sat here and thought about it for a while.
My guess was Parks and Rec, so I was
Yeah,
thinking.
Parks and Rec. I would. Yeah, there's lots of like. Okay, are we talking about like people or like environments?
Like environments. So you can even, if you can include people if you want, like it could be the same characters, but mainly like the setting, like the environment.
Probably anywhere with like a warm climate.
Okay.
But yeah, I think like in terms of like somewhere that feels like home that's not here, I think Pawnee, Indiana. Despite its lack of diversity, I think that would be great. Guys, my mind is so like taken over with emotion from the Kardashians that I can't even properly think. I probably have 7 answers for you when I'm not being mad at Tristan for being a dumbass.
Gosh. That's the theme of the show for sure.
Do not care about Harry Potter, and therefore I do not care about that. I'm sure Sarah would say, it seems like she's a couple minutes behind. I feel like Sarah would say that she would love to be in Lord of the Rings, Hobbit Town, or whatever it's called. The Once Upon a Time TV show, I feel like that would be great. I grew up in the area where a lot of that was filmed, and so I feel like I was kind of there. And it is fantastic. So I think that might be.
That's good. Like your life is a storybook.
Mm-hmm.
Great pick.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that might be the end of my list for you.
Gotcha.
Do you have any more for me? I know we have a couple that people sent in.
Oh yeah. I forgot. I think I had some extra, so you can't even count how many I had. I did have some more, but we can go to
You can ask
one. Okay, let me ask you one more. I think this is a really good one. Is there a quote or saying that you live by? Like one would even say my mantra.
Yes, I do actually have a mantra. And it's actually 2 mantras from 2 periods of time in my life that have become one. And so my mantra is from blessing to blessing, forward movements only. And like basically it means that like forward movements only came first. And it was during like a series of hard times, me trying to say to myself, just move forward, anything that I can do today to move forward, we're just going to move forward. I got this like arrow arrow tattoo to signify forward movements only, because when you pull like in order for an arrow to move forward, first it has to move back. So even when you feel like you're being pulled back, that could still be a forward movement. So that was stage 1. Stage 2 was following that series of unfortunate events, was a series of fortunate events, where I realized that no matter where I was or what good thing was happening, God was still meeting me at each place. And there was still blessing in each place. So instead of like being in this incredible moment and then losing it to go to this moment. I was instead going from this great moment to this great moment. So from blessing to blessing. Rather than, like having a mindset of loss, having a mindset of from blessing to blessing. So my mantra is from blessing to blessing, forward movements only. And that carries me forward a lot of the time. Do you have a mantra?
Well, that is beautiful. I love that.
Thank you. I feel like you would.
I feel like mine is, I have two. So one, it's like either one day or it's, wait, I forget how it goes. It's like either one day or day one. So either you can keep wishing on something, like one day it's going to happen, or you can choose that today is going to be the day that you make a change and go after something you like. So that's like one of them. And then there's like something that my mom always tells me. I'm sure she got this from someone else. It's like, you're always one decision away from a different life. And it's like scary, but also encouraging at the same time. Like, and it really kind of like encourages reflection. Like before you do things, like don't want to be the type of person over analyzing everything, but like I just think of someone who's like drinking before they get in the car, or like, there's life-changing moments based on your decisions. So I always think, and like I'm thinking of Corn Boy. He just sat down and recorded that video. Now I'm sure he's a millionaire with all these brand deals. Like everyone is just one decision away. And here in Portland, there's so many people that are homeless, unfortunately. And I always never like turn my nose up or anything because it could be someone who have lost their job and maybe have no living family. Anyone could be one decision away from being on the street, one decision away from a better life. So I just feel like that is always kind of grounds me and like being more intentional of how I live my life.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Well, we had 2 questions come from our Instagram page. So if you don't follow us already at Nerdy Girls After Dark, thank you for the submissions. So the first question, oh crap, let me pull it up. The first question is, how do you deal with disappointment?
Oh man, this is timely for me. I feel like I've had a lot of disappointment this week. If I'm going to be honest, I deal with disappointment with a glass of wine. My favorite show, which is Parks and Recreation, or whatever comfort show that I'm watching right now, which happens to be Modern Family, and calling my mom and crying to her. Like relying on family and wine and a comfort show, I would say, is how I deal with disappointment. How do you deal with disappointment?
I was interesting because I think I approached the question a little differently. I think I'm at a spot where I've seen so much disappointment, and then like few days, weeks, months down the road, I'm so happy that like I was disappointed at the time. So it's like always a comforting thought for me. It's like, okay, this didn't work out. Something's better, whether it be these trash ass guys out here, whew, and or it could be like an opportunity. I remember applying for roles and constantly being sad that I didn't make it, I didn't get the job, and now I have the job that I have and I love it. So like I feel like a reassuring thought. It's like there's always something better on the other side of disappointment. But in terms of like the day to day, hey, I'm disappointed. What do I actually do? I'm calling my sister, and then I'm watching either Teen Titans Go or the Barbie series on Netflix.
I tell you, man, family and a good TV show.
Like the comfort show. I love me some animated Morning, Titans, Barbie, anything like that that just like
Barbie, like I don't know about any of the choices that you've said, but yes, the whole idea of a comfort show. Sam mentioned I got cookies this week. Let me tell you guys, I was having a horrible day. Sam picked out of nowhere. Sam picked me up from work with a bag of freshly baked cookies, which are gone by the way. She gave me like 15 cookies. This was like 2 days ago. They're all gone. If you are not like, if you are feeling like maybe you should bake cookies for your friend who you haven't heard from in a while, you should, because you never know what that's gonna do for them. But yeah,
What a great friend, Sam. That's amazing.
honestly. All right, what's the last question?
The last question is best cosplay/costume ideas for the girlies. So,
Mm,
very timely question because Halloween is
yeah,
next month.
almost Halloween. I was telling Maya before, like earlier today, that I have the same Halloween costume every year, which is this mouse onesie that I got from our deans like 5 years ago, and I wear it every single year of Halloween. It
Oh
is
my
my Ron Swanson pirate costume. Um, and I have no desire to do anything different. However, I'm very excited for other people who want to have a different costume or cosplay.
Ooh, Steve and Eddie from Stranger Things, gender bending is life. I agree with that, Sam, because a few years ago I was Nick Fury and it was amazing. I had so much fun with that. And I think what,
You're Nick Fury? You have the eye patch and everything?
yeah, I gotta see this picture. This is literally from 2018. Yeah, 2018 when I was living in Indiana as well. So I always I prefer costumes where it's like you're not buying like from a Spirit Halloween. Most of those costumes
Mm.
single use
Yeah,
end
just
up in a
every time. Yeah.
take forever, won't biodegrade, like complete waste. Like going to the thrift store, going to the vintage shop, something where you can like make it, the creative element of actually putting it together and not always having to buy new or buy like brand new
Or
or like
else be prepared to wear it every year for the next 10 years like me.
exactly. So I always like ones like I remember as a secondary costume, I was like Indiana Jones one year because I found like this cool vintage like brown leather jacket and I had some cute like high waisted like tan pants and things like that and a cool hat. Um, but like if I had to give one, I think it's tough with superheroes because sometimes like you actually need to build something or buy something. But like a costume, but I would also say like your favorite TV show character.
Mhm.
That would always be fun. Something that actually you like and you have like a story behind. So
Mhm.
I mean, I love the Stranger Things ones, and even I've seen a lot of guys, especially with the buzz cut, like do 11, like throw the dress on and like holding their hands up. But she said for the girlies, but I think yeah, just something that you can kind of piece together from like secondhand or something like that.
Mhm.
I recommend.
I say do
Like
something unexpected. Like
yeah,
every year there seems to be like a theme of like everybody's going as like David and Alexis or whatever it is that everybody's
yeah.
doing. Do something that you love that like nobody's goes fucking Kim Possible. Like use like Lizzie McGuire, like something that like hasn't been done in a while. My nephew, well, last year was Cousin Eddie from Christmas Vacation or the vacation movies. So like that's like from the 80s. He was
Mhm.
Cousin Eddie, and it was so funny, and nobody else was doing Cousin Eddie. Everybody else had like baby costumes for sorry, my nephew was 2 at the time. Just turned 2, and it was adorable.
That's
But like something like unexpected that like if you love something like from the 90s like that no one else is doing, I say do that because that's so fun.
for sure. And I'm like, the cats, the Playboy bunnies, it's tired. It's very tired.
The
Halloween is about
nerd,
like
the
creativity,
nerd,
doing something
yeah.
unexpected, breaking the matrix a little bit. So
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, granted, some people like to have more of the sexy, and that's fine. But at least don't let it be basic. Be sexy and original, or somewhat original.
Mhm.
So that was great. Well, Cara, I feel like you just dropped so much knowledge, and I
You
feel like this is
too.
great. This is a great kickoff to the Girl on Girls chats in the future. We don't know who
Mhm.
the next one will be, but stay tuned. And I mean, is there anything else you have to say before we wrap up, Cara?
I don't think so. I'll see you next week.
All right. Bye, everyone. See you next week.